The Philippines is fighting China, and here's why.
Hey! My friend!
The South China Sea holds tremendous strategic significance for the international community, making it the most fiercely contested area in the world. The South China Sea is the largest marginal sea in the western Pacific Ocean. It is bordered by China to the north, Taiwan to the northeast, the Philippines to the east, Indonesia and Brunei to the south, the Malay Peninsula to the southwest, and to Vietnam to the west. Its geographical location is of great significance, as it connects the Indian and Pacific Oceans, making it a vital shipping channel for major regional economies like China, Japan, and South Korea. Over the past few decades, the most serious disputes have arisen between China, Vietnam, and the Philippines. Among all the claimants, China has made expansive claims, asserting ownership of over 80% of the total area of the South China Sea. These claims are based on the Nine-Dash Line, originally drawn by the Republic of China. China is constructing islands and strengthening its military presence in the South China Sea, which clearly indicates its desire for control over the region. The significance of the South China Sea is not only defined by its major sea routes and trade, but also by its abundant natural resources. These resources include fish and, most importantly, hydrocarbon reserve.
International Tribunal has sided with the Philippines, overruling China's claims in the South China Sea. Our Kim Young-gil provides a closer look at the first ruling on the cluster of overlapping claims in the disputed region by an international court, as well as China's anger-charged response.
The Permanent Court of Arbitration based in The Hague ruled in favor of the Philippines and concluded that China has no legal basis to claim historic rights to resources within the South China Sea. The Philippines welcomed the landmark decision.
The Philippines strongly affirms its respect for this milestone decision as an important contribution to ongoing efforts in addressing disputes in the South China Sea.
China published a map in 1947 which outlined its claims to the South China Sea, the basis of its so-called Nine-Dash Line, stretching 3.5 million square kilometers from China's southern coast. The arbitration court said China had interfered with traditional Philippine fishing rights at Scarborough Shoal and breached the Philippines' sovereign rights by exploring for oil and gas near the Reed Bank. But China refuses to acknowledge the tribunal's ruling.
I should say the so-called arbitral tribunal was based on the illegal action and claim of the Philippines from the very onset, so its very existence is not legitimate.
Here in Manila is grappling with what might be called catastrophic success. What comes next is obviously going to be a delicate balancing act. It is a time for cool heads, and Manila is sensibly, I think, being careful not to flaunt its legal victory. It's very important at this stage not to do anything that could give China a pretext for escalation.
We're aboard a ship on a mission deep into the heart of the South China Sea. It's a days-long journey through some of the most contested waters in the world.
You can see how close the Chinese Coast Guard is getting to our vessel. It looks like it's really about to hit us.
And it will end in one of the most significant confrontations between China and the Philippines in recent years. A short distance away, the crew aboard the other Philippine Coast Guard vessel scramble as a Chinese ship collides into its bow. One of the Filipino supply boats has become separated from its protection as it tries to break through the Chinese fleet. The small boat is surrounded and blasted with water cannons from 2 Chinese Coast Guard ships. The cannons smash into the bridge, shattering windows and injuring those inside, forcing the boat to turn back.
Beijing now accuses the Philippines of being dishonest and deliberately stirring up trouble.
The Philippines' rights-infringing and provocative attempts will not succeed.
But the Philippines remains defiant.
If the hope of China is to weaken the Philippine resolve, they will be sorely disappointed.
But if there's a miscalculation or a further provocation, and some Filipino sailors are hurt or killed or a ship is sunk, the U.S. is obliged under a treaty to come to Manila's defense. Part of why the Philippines is not backing down is in 2016 there was an International Court of Arbitration decision that ruled China cannot basically claim all of the South China Sea to itself. Beijing declared that illegal, null, and void, and that's part of why the Philippines is so adamant about going up against its much wealthier, larger rival.
To defend itself, the Philippines started working with allies and beefing up its defenses. The Philippines started performing military exercises with U.S. and other countries, even purchasing the Typhoon missile from the U.S. What can we expect next? Let us all hope for the best to avoid further escalations of the issue.